to Tactical Talk Show Thursday. This is Sitting with Squatch, and today I am here with
Chase, call sign backhander.
And
Kevin, call sign Ronan.
And where are you guys from?
We are from Wichita Falls, Texas.
Long ways away.
Yeah.
You're here to join us for Sonnenblune coming up?
Yes.
Among other things. But that's our primary goal, I'm not going to lie.
Awesome, man. What would you guys like to see out of Sonnenblune?
Man, I'll be honest. Since Broken Home 3, I haven't really got to do anything airsoft. We've been talking about it over and over and over again. And every time we talk about it, I was like, man, I got to play. That trigger finger starts itching. It's like, I got to play. And now it's like, oh, hey, we met these guys from Topeka. We spent 4 hours with them. We're really great friends. And now we're invited to go to this op. Let's go. Okay.
Gonna play.
So, yeah.
The airsoft scene back home is just, it's really small. There's not a lot of people that know about it. There's not a lot of people that are interested in it. So it's really hard. We've tried for the last 4 years to get a team together down there, and we can't do it.
Yeah, it is hard in a small area, small community. I don't know how big Wichita Falls is, but
it's a moderate size. We've got a big NATO training base there for the Air Force.
Oh, okay.
The problem with that being is, when we get people interested that's in the Air Force, they do their training and they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get some other people that just, they'll stick around for a little bit and then they're like, well, the scene's not good enough. Or you'll get people who have, expert level guns like you'd see at Broken Home or any AMS, any kind of big national event. And you'll have these other guys that'll show up with Walmart guns and they just, after, playing a few games, they're like, either I want on their team or I don't want to play no more.
Yeah.
And it just, so.
Yep. And so, a little bit about your airsoft background.
It all started, we were young, and we bought these spring pistols, and that's where we started at.
The little clear see-through ones.
And, we originally got them for target shooting.
Mm-hmm.
And never once even thought about, hey, we could shoot each other with these. Because growing up, our parents were kind of really strict about stuff like that. And then we eventually upgraded to a spring-powered rifle. And that was like, when I got my first spring-powered M4, I thought I was the baddest kid on the block. And I was always out in the backyard target shooting with it. And I had actually worked at a paintball field for a while, and that's when I first heard about airsoft. Some guys from another team there in Wichita Falls came out to ask if we did airsoft, and the owner of the field was like so against it. He was like, no, it rivals with paintball, there's just no way. And then I started looking into their team, started researching a little bit, and I found out, hey, people actually shoot each other with these. So then we went to Walmart, and my very first gun was a Crossman Pulsar 71. I don't like to admit that. And as I was the manager at this paintball field, we'd be out on the field, and I'd be talking to the players and ask them, hey, you know about airsoft? You ever heard of airsoft? We had a 13-acre field just right down the road from the paintball field. And I got a few guys together. We all came out. We played a few times. Of course, we had one kid who was going into the Marines, and he would never call his hits. Like, you could hear him getting hit, and he would just run around thinking he was, like, Mission Impossible.
Ouch! That didn't hit me.
Right.
Didn't hit me.
So that's where we got started at, and then it kind of died down a little bit, and we finally got a hold of this other guy who is from San Diego, and he plays a lot with Airsoft Extreme out of San Diego, and he had, I don't know what kind of gun he had, he's had it for a long time. He had it completely customized, paint, optics, forward handrails, everything, and we started seeing how much of a difference there was between the Crossman and the gun that he bought online. Then as other people started getting in, they started spending more money on guns. There was a guy who spent $1,500 on an M16 that shot about 700-800 feet per second.
Jeez.
And he was out there running full auto, and then finally we're like, hey, you can't do that. And then he had a sniper rifle that would also shoot 750, and he shot one kid in the stomach at point blank range.
Wow.
And after seeing the potential that these online weapons have, so we started looking into, hey, let's start getting into a more professional level, I guess.
Yeah. And then comes the gear, and then
Right.
Oh yeah. You start about the same time as him?
Well, yeah. One thing he kind of failed to mention, when we were growing up, we used to play with little toy guns. You pull the trigger, make little sound effects and all that. And we always played with some of the neighborhood kids and all that. We were like, what, 8, 9, 10, something like that. Well, when we got our first little airsoft pistol, it looked all the same. And, you know, we target practiced with it before. And what ended up happening, how we got to the point where we started shooting each other with these things, is I think it was him, he accidentally grabbed it thinking it was one of the ones that just make noise. And he shot me with it with a BB chamber, didn't know it.
Yeah, I shot him right in the throat.
Yeah. I was walking to a mailbox and he got me in the throat, and that kind of started it. And then we started getting into the point where, you know, we'd gone and played paintball. Like, okay, it's kind of expensive. And then we went and we're like, well, what about airsoft, you know? We'd played, you know, we'd had the airsoft pistols in the past, and then we started looking at Walmart. Oh, full auto. Okay, cool. And then kind of like you said, you know, we started off at this field. It was some in-laws that we had. And invited a few people over who had some weapons. We had some spares and all that. And it's, you know, pretty much the same story. Got out there, started playing, and then that guy that he was saying from California, he showed up and he had this, you know, rifle. It was heavy, it was new to us, and when we finally saw it out there, it blew our mind. We're like, you know, up until that point, we're like, yeah, you know, we got a full auto rifle from Walmart. And then it turned out to be, it's like, we might as well just throw knives or something, you know, it had the same effect. I mean, the first AEG I actually had was an MP5. And this thing, with the wind blowing in favorable direction, I might get 220 FPS out of it. Maybe. I mean, if a fly just barely buzzed by it, it'd ricochet way off in one direction. And then we got, you know, we started being able to play with these, and he actually bought a KWA rifle. And
I bought a KWA CQR Mod 1.
Yeah.
That's my very first actual intermediate series rifle. And I fell in love immediately.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and then after that, it was, you know, we started off with vests.
Mm-hmm.
And that vest, it was more, you know, better rifles. And after that, it was just like, we gotta get, you know, we gotta get more. And eventually, it was like, okay, let's try to start a team with these guys. And then we had a little bit of a falling out period with these guys. You know, very unfortunate story for the most part.
Some disagreements.
Yeah, you know, we were trying to start a team, and then it was just like, we wanted to have something that was balanced between the 5 of us that we had, and there was just so much disagreement that it was like, it was me and him, and it was 2 other guys, and there was this one guy who would just go back and forth, and then it turned out to the point where it was just like, we were bickering about stuff with the team more than we were actually getting stuff, you know, playing and all that, and eventually something had come up, relating to me. I had missed a couple events for personal reasons, and he kind of, you know, chewed me out about it, and I was like, dude, you know, I told him what was going on, and after that, it all went downhill. Me and him just kind of started doing our own thing. We disbanded our team, and then while we were playing with some of these guys, we started hearing about these big events. First, we heard about Lion Claws. Like, okay, we'll look into it. We looked into some information. We made plans for a year and a half.
Yeah, we were going to attend Operation Irene last year.
Yeah, and we're like, yeah, we're gonna go. And then he heard about the AMS. And it was like, there's one, it's up here. We're like, oh, okay,
I first heard about Broken Home. My buddy, call sign Ranger from the Gamblers.
Mm-hmm.
I've known him since 2002, and he first told me about Broken Home 2 years ago. I looked into it. I thought it was cool that they have the storyline where each battle changes the story, but at that point I didn't have my gun. I didn't have my gear. I wasn't ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kind of put it back on the back burner. And then real early this year, about January or February, I started looking into it again. And then, we saw tanks, helicopters. We watched the video American Wilson has on their front page of their website. And we saw there was going to be 700 people. And immediately, we started making plans. We started buying our gear. The day they opened pre-registration, I bought my ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was at work, and I told my boss I was going to get something to drink. I drove to the gas station where I had data connection, so I could buy my ticket.
Yeah, and I mean, he often like, I don't know why you gotta be such a negative Nancy about everything. When I think about things, I think of both sides regardless. And at first I was like, dude, we don't have the gear. We show up with these Walmart rifles, we're gonna be the laughing stock of 700 people. We might as well just go out there and paint a big target and just be a moving target for them guys out there. He's like, no, we'll get it figured out. And sure enough, He bought his ticket. He's like, dude, I've already got my ticket. You need to go. You need to go. You need to go. I was like, all right, fine. And then he's like, oh, here, I've got 2 rifles. You can use my backup, and we'll go. And so, we went to work. We got our, started getting our gear in. And then he's like, I need some information from you. I was like, okay, well, what do you need? He's like, he handed me a list of, your name, all this information. I was like, what do you need all this for? He's like, just fill it out and be done with it. I'm like, okay. I filled it out and I gave it to him. I was like, what was it for? He's like, just don't worry about it. I was like, all right. Well, he called me to the hotel room that he was staying at. He's like, all right, I want to show you something. I was like, all right. And he pulled it up and when he rotated his laptop, it was a registration for AMS. He's like, I will buy your ticket right now if you want to go. And I sat there, debated for 2 days, 3 days?
Yeah.
And finally I was like, all right, buy the ticket. And I was like one of the last tickets that for cost. I think they had like 30 tickets left, and I bought mine. And I was like, man, I don't know about this. I mean, that's a long drive. There's a lot of people we don't know. We've never been to a national op. I don't want to look stupid. And he's like, don't worry about it. We'll just go. We'll have a good time. And I mean, I was sweating it. I mean, playing all them backyard games, I was like, I was expecting maybe a little bit larger scale.
Uh-huh.
And we show up, and the first day we got there on Thursday. Nobody's there. I mean, we were like one of the first people there. And so, we're setting up our tent. I was like, this kind of sucks. Oh, well, we're spending quality time together, whatever. We're brothers.
Now, our tent, not to mention, is
Yes.
it's a MGPTS. It's 18 feet wide, 18 feet long, and 12 feet tall.
Uh-huh.
It took the 2 of us 3 hours to set it up.
Yeah, we specifically got this tent for AMS events. We're going for the weekend thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, we set up, and the first day no one was really there. It was a Thursday. We had the whole weekend off. We'd already planned it out. So we got up there. We're like, oh, yeah, So we got everything set up, and we spent the night, and the next day everyone started showing up. At first, I was like, man, this is kind of underwhelming. And then all of a sudden, it's like a huge surge of people. It's late Friday afternoon. I was like, okay. So they started the Friday night game. We were talking with the game, which is like, he said, Ranger was quite literally his best friend. That's when he would start talking about him, he would go on. Like, I almost felt like I knew Ranger personally from all the things he would tell me about him. And so we met with them, and all night we just talked. We ended up missing the night game. And then we actually got onto the field, and it was just like a completely different experience. I was like, okay, I was immediately hooked.
Yeah.
Right like that. And after that, now it's just like, okay, well, what are we going to upgrade next? What are we going to get next? Well, you need to get 10 uniform. Oh, okay, well, I've already got a uniform. No. We need to have, and now it's just like, we've got a list that's ever-changing of all the things that we need. And I don't even want to begin to start trying to comprehend how much money we're going to be spending into this, but it's just...
Yeah, me neither. Right.
Being and being a bigger guy, I was like, dude, I'm going to get out there and I'm going to be the laughing stock, you're going to see this fat kid running across the, the open field, and I got out there, I was like, okay, I'm not the only bigger guy out here, and then I was like, okay, I don't feel so bad, and it's like, I was expecting people to be out, completely honest, I was like, man, these guys are going to be, like, oh yeah, we've been here before, No, it was a completely different experience. It was like,
Everybody was so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they were all excited to talk to us because it was our first big event.
Oh, that's cool.
I can't tell you how many times we were asked, well, what do you guys think so far? Y'all guys come back? And he's like, yeah, we're coming back.
We're hooked now.
Yeah,
It's over. It's over.
That's how it started.
That's awesome.
Much.
When we first got there, knowing there was going to be about 700 players there, it's completely different when you know there's going to be 700 people there as to where when you see the morning briefing and you see 700 people.
Yeah.
It is completely different.
Yep. It's quite eye-opening. It's a whole new experience.
Yeah, it was. I enjoyed every second there. Even, what was it, Saturday night? That storm blew in, and it was like early in the morning, and the storm blew in. We're all, it's me, him, and a few of the gamblers. We're in our tent. This storm comes in. You can hear people scrambling for the cars and engines starting up and all that. We're just chilling out in the tent, like, man.
Our tent's waterproof, windproof, snowproof.
And, up until then, we heard Milsim a lot. Oh, it's Milsim, And then we were out there during that thunderstorm. It was like, this is Milsim. You're in a tent that's made for military in a thunderstorm, and you're not sure what's going to happen next. You don't have any technology out there to tell you how bad it is or anything. You just got to go with it.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it was like I said, it was an eye opener.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
That's what big events can do.
yeah. So
And AMS puts on some good ones. And they are one of our sponsors. So be sure to like, subscribe, follow, the whole deal. Make sure you register. Get to Sonnenblune. We need you out there. It'll be a blast. We'll make sure of it. And thank you guys for sitting with Squatch
well, it's a pleasure.
and coming down. We'll make sure you have a good time. And you have what it takes.